As many level 3 evacuations dropped over the weekend, thousands of people are returning home this week. What you need to know before you return, coming up. And Governor Bob Ferguson says he plans to seek a major disaster declaration from the federal government, which, if granted, could unlock financial assistance for fire victims. More details ahead.
Our weather impact alert continues tonight as the smoke lingers across our region. What I'm tracking in the forecast tonight.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Fire crews say over the weekend there was no new growth on the Spokane area fires. They remain at just under 10,000 total acres. Crews have also managed to increase containment. So here is a look at where containment stands for each of the fires. The Autumn Lane fire now 73% contained, while both the Old Trails and Fairview fires are 53% contained. And we are getting a sense of the cost of fighting the fires. The total cost as of last night, more than $23 million. Now, keep in mind that number does not take into account the cost of damages, just the cost of firefighting. Turning to the latest now on evacuations. Look at all that green. All evacuations for the Fairview fire have been lifted. Those red areas in northwest Spokane, they're still under level 3 go now evacuations. People there cannot return to their property yet. According to fire officials, those red zones right there are where the fires are still active or where they have hot spots. Meantime, Governor Bob Ferguson signed an emergency declaration today aimed at helping Spokane rebuild faster. William Pitts is at City Hall tonight, where the governor gave an update on the city's rebuilding process.
The recovery is going to take months, maybe longer. But now that some people are being allowed back into some parts of the fire area, the governor says it's time to focus on how to make that recovery faster and better. Now, the governor signed an emergency declaration that eases some rules and regulations, things like making it easier to get a new driver's license and birth certificate, waiving penalties for late taxes and business licenses. It also waives some regulations that the governor hopes will make it easier for hospitals to set up shop in the area faster. When it comes to insurance, there's already an order from the state commissioner that prevents insurance companies from canceling policies, in some cases until the end of September. But as we've seen with so many fires in places like California, the concern is what happens after that, and if insurance companies will refuse to cover certain areas or make wildfire coverage prohibitively expensive.
It's always a concern whenever you have a situation like this that the perception of risk goes up. And of course, we can't force insurance companies to underwrite a risk. But what we can do is work to reduce the perception of the risk, which was the focus of the couple of bills that we had before the legislature last year.
I think it's fair to say in the 5 months we have before this next legislative session, I think, as the commissioner mentioned, and obviously the senator's involved, we've got a bipartisan group of legislators who are here, which I appreciate, from different communities who are impacted by the fires. I think you'll see a continued conversation around that specific issue, and so more to come on that.
The governor says he's working on a major disaster declaration that goes above and beyond the disaster declaration that's already been issued. He says he hopes that frees up more funding for recovery. In Spokane, William Pitts, KREM 2 News.
All right, let's take a brief pause for the headlines for our first check at the forecast at 5 o'clock with meteorologist Cody Proctor. Cody, a little less smoky today. How's the rest of the week looking?
Well, I would like to say hope it stays a little less smoky as we head into the next couple of days, but there's still a chance we're going to see more of that smoke get pulled into Spokane here and into Coeur d'Alene. So we're still going to continue that weather impact alert for today and probably for tomorrow, as well as we keep track of our weather models. And you can see just how widespread those air quality issues are. Even if Spokane and Coeur d'Alene have improved, that's not the case around Omak and Chewelah and Wilbur and throughout parts of Okanagan County and Ferry County. And you can just see that many folks are still feeling those impacts from the smoke. Further down towards the Palouse, though, better conditions. However, as we head into the next couple of days, we're still keeping track of that smoke that's expected to linger with us. And you can see why. We still have multiple fires that are burning throughout the Northwest, not only nearby here in Spokane or with the Spokane complex fires, but up towards Omak. We're still keeping track of the Sinlahegan fire, the Little Giant fire. We have the Kaiser Canyon and Maudrite fire. So still watching those so close. And you can see that smoke is still just going to be potentially a region-wide issue for us. And as we take a look at Lake Coeur d'Alene, yes, Lake Coeur d'Alene is actually more in the moderate category, but looking off in the distance and on this camera, that smoke is right there as we take a look at the water. So not great conditions outside. Temperatures right now are at 86 degrees. We've improved our wind speed slightly. We're now at 15 miles per hour compared to 16, so we'll take that. Temperatures across the region mostly in the mid 80s to low 90s. Lots of sunshine still being seen around parts of our area. That smoke, though, looks like it's still impacting our current temperatures around the region. Still seeing some double-digit wind speeds around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene at this time. Much of the rest of the region, though, looks like we're seeing mostly calm to light conditions. As we head into the next 12 hours, we're going to stay in those 80s a little longer. Tomorrow morning should be quiet when it comes to our winds. We'll start things off in the upper 50s. Still could be smoky for tomorrow. We're still tracking some dry conditions. Heading to the rest of the week, mostly in the 80s. There is a chance, though, for some potential for some changes in the forecast with some precipitation up in our higher elevations. I'll talk about that more in our full forecast later.
We'll talk to then, Cody. Thank you. Today, Avista began removing fire-damaged trees near power grids and pole lines. Although these fire-damaged trees may look healthy, they can become unstable and possibly collapse. This cleanup is to make the return and recovery to evacuated neighborhoods safer.
In terms of vegetation management, this project is one of the largest, if not the largest, in Avista's history.
To evacuated zones can expect to see contractor crews and temporary traffic delays. Large trucks and tree removal machinery will cause some noise disturbances during that cleanup effort. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office asking people to avoid the area around the Spokane County Fairgrounds. Now, this is to help with traffic as firefighters go back and forth from the Incident Command Center. So you're asked to avoid that area specifically that you see right here between 7:30 to 8:30, both in the morning and evenings. This is near East Broadway and North Havana Streets out by the fairgrounds. Fire is happening tonight at 6 p.m. Spokane Fire District 9 will be hosting it in Meade at the Union Event Center. We'll have more coverage on that later tonight. And the Meade Post Office also reached out to us. They say they'll be reopening for full service starting tomorrow. There will also be 2 public meetings for the Old Trails Fire in Spokane. Those will both be at Shadle Park High School. The City of Spokane and District 10 will be hosting that first meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. The second meeting on Thursday, August 13th, is also at 6 p.m. And there will also be 2 public meetings for the Autumn Lane Fire for both the Stevens and Spokane County sides of that fire. The first is tomorrow at Lakeside High School in 9 Mile Falls. Stevens County Fire District 11 is hosting that meeting. It starts at 6 p.m. Spokane County Fire Districts 4 and 9 are hosting the second meeting. It's happening at Meade High School on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And also, we are getting a look at police body camera footage in the moments after the Old Trails fire started, capturing the rush to evacuate people.
It's so weird, 30 years later, and it being pretty much right in the same spot is pretty scary.
30 years ago, 2 friends watched a wildfire come roaring through their childhood home. This year, that fire came back, destroying the house. Coming up on KREM 2 News at 6, best friends are now left picking through the ashes, searching for pieces of the memories they made growing up.